Hello everyone, welcome to Steel Detailing Desk. In today's video, we will learn the basic connections of Open Web Steel Joist. To understand this, I have downloaded steel product catalog from New Millennium Joist, Canon Joist and Volcraft Joist manufacturers. This is the latest catalog from New Millennium regarding design guides for standard joist. In this catalog, we will see the basic joist connections. Let's take a before the connection. Just take a look of few joist profiles, standard joist profiles, uh, parallel chord configuration of joist, then single pitch top chord and double pitch top chord. Other than standard profiles, there are few special joist profiles like gable configuration, then scissor type, then bowstring, and last one is arc type. Let's start with the joist connection. Let's take a look of first two figures showing the end bearing condition at masonry or concrete, and another one is end bearing at steel. In the first figure showing the bearing 4-inch minimum for K series, 6-inch minimum for LH and DLH series, and the standard bearing shoe depth of the joist is 2.5 for K series, 5 for LH series, 5-inch for DLH series, sections 10 through 17. These are the chord section numbers of the joist, and then 7.5 bearing seat depth is for LH DLH series from section 18 through 25. Please note, whenever we have the connection mentioned in the first figure, like the bearing plate should be maximum half inch from the face of masonry or concrete. This figure noting the bearing plate, see SGI table. I discussed about this SGI table in the last video. You can watch that video to understand this table from the Steel Joist Institute. In the figure of end bearing as steel shows the minimum bearing of K series joist, LH series joist, LH series joist based on the chord section numbers like 2.5 minimum for K series and remaining 4-inch and 6-inch minimum for LH series for sections 18 to 25, and bearing shift depth are same as shown in the first figure. Another two figure shows the bearing seat attachment and other one is bolted in connection. In the first figure shows the weld size and the weld length for K series joist, LS series joist, TLS series joist based on the sections 2 to 6 for LH and DLH series sections from 10 to 17, LH and DLH section 18 to through 25 with 4-inch of weld length and fillet weld of the quarter-inch for joist. In the another figure, these are bolted end connections specifying the slots in the joist with standard gauges. The gauge 3.5 is for K series and gauge 4-inch is for LH and DLS series. And based on the type of joist, there are erection boards noted like A3 half-inch dia, half-inch dia A307 boards, 3x4 dia A307 boards for LH series, 3x4 A307 erection boards for DLS series from section 10 to 17, and 3x4 dia A325 boards for LHDLS series from sections 18 through 25. The last two figures shows the different type of chord extension. Like first figure is showing the S type top chord extension and another one is the R type extended end. If you see here, R type means the seat depth, complete seat depth is extending from the beam center line, and in first image only the top chord only extending from the beam center line. Whenever we have joist slope less than 3 by 8 per feet, in those conditions we can use the standard bearing seat of the values for the joist, but in conditions where the joist slope is more than 3 by 8 per feet or 3 more than 3 by 8 per feet or 3 by 8 per feet, then for these conditions we have different values for bearing seat depth. Let's take a look at these four figures. First we will understand first two. The first figure explains the low end of joist without top chord extension, and the another figure, second figure, shows the low end with top chord extension. In the condition of low end without top chord extension, the bearing seat values will be 2.5 minimum of K series and 5 inch minimum for the LS series. In the second figure with top chord extension, the values will be different. It is 3 inch for K series and 5.5 for LS series joist. And bearing values noted here like 4 inch for K series and 6 inch for LS series in the both figures. Whenever we have the condition high end without top chord extension and high end with top chord extension, where the slope is more than 3 by 8 per feet, for these conditions for high end of joist, for the seat depth of high end joist, we need to follow this table based on the slope of joist like 3 by 8 per feet or 1 inch per feet. We need to follow the noted bearing seat depth. Just for example, if the slope is half inch per feet, then the bearing seat depth for the K series joist will be 3.5, and if the slope is half inch per feet for LS series, then the on the high end of the joist, the bearing seat will be 6 inches. As a steel detailer, whenever we have joist in the project, first we need to confirm the joist supplier, and based on that, if the slope is more than quarter inch per feet, we need to consider the shoe depth as shoe depth information provided by the joist supplier. These are few basic connections shown here where the girder joist is having the correct connection with the white flange column. It is a 5 inch gauge and 31/16 and 1 1/2 slots are there in the bearing seat of the joist, and we need to provide the standard round holes in the caplet of the column, and bolts we need to provide as given in the previous diagrams. Second figure showing the condition on the girder joist. The secondary joists are coming having the bolted connection, showing the slots for the like three for K series joist with 9 by 16 die holes at a 3.5 gauge for K series and 13 by 16 die holes at 4 inch gauge for LH and DLH series. Noting the 7.5 seat depth for the girder joist. Another important thing is stabilizer plate. Generally, 3 by 4 thick stabilizer plates we are providing for girder joist, half inch for LH and DLH, and uh, 3 by thick stabilizer plates of 6 by 6 inch sizes for K series. Whenever we have the connection of joist with the hollow structural section column or with the wide flange column. These are general as an example I am sharing here. Maybe based on the project the values may be vary. The current page shows the span of the joist. If the joist bearing on the joist or on the beam or on the concrete or masonry, the span will be considered as it is it is showing here, and the values of 2.5, 4 inch, 6 inch, these are the minimum bearing bearing length of the joist seat on the supporting member. Note down all these details. It is very helpful while working on the jobs, or take a printout for your personal use. The first page of Canon joist catalog for joist and joist girders is look like this. There are few basic connections we will see from the Canon catalog also. Just go through these pages, connection pages, as with different conditions, like with HS structural column or with white flange column, the connections of the girder joist and the connections of the K series and L series joist with bearing on the column top or seated connections. These all details are shown here with the standard gauges and seat depth for the K series, LS series, and for joist girders. This sheet shows the joist connection in a very simplified way, and we can easily understand how the connections will be as per the framing conditions. Just take a look of this connection details. First one is column uh, is resting on the column cap plate, and here we have stabilizer plate. Then another condition is the joist is resting on this bearing on this angle, and the 16 stabilizer plate extension is noted with the guy and with the hole in the stabilizer plate for guy and plumbing cables. A third condition, beam is running over the column. In this condition, how the connection will be as per depth of the joist. The stabilizer plate is connected to the column and the joist is resting on the beam top flange. In the second row, we have condition like beam running on the column and as per the depth of the joist, the stabilizer plate is coming at the bottom flange of beam. The next condition is it is a girder joist having the connection with the CMU with stabilizer plates. Uh, it is not a plate; it's the angle in this condition. And third condition, it is with concrete wall, the girder joist connecting with the connection material and the stabilizer plate. Go through all these details. It helps a lot to understand the basic connections of the joist. This is the first page of joist catalog from Wellcraft, Newcorp Wellcraft. Many times we had a confusion like whenever we have the joist in the project and we have the joist section sizes like 28K to 40 by 180. So what these values are exactly, 240 by 180? So let's take a look. This first 240, it is the total weight, and 128 is the live load of the joist. 24, it is the steel joist depth as we all know, and K is the SGI series designation. Whenever we have the joist slope 3 by 8 per feet and more than that, from Wellcraft also we have the chart for the joist seat depth for K series, low end and high end conditions with top chord and without top chord extension. So go through all these values and remember one thing, these are the SGI standard seat depth at but Wellcraft have some different values based on the sloping condition for the K series joist. The next page is for slopeless seat requirements for the LH and DLS series joist for the low and high end with and without top chord extensions. So this column shows the recommended seat depth for the joist whenever we have the slopes noted here 3 by per feet. We need 7.5 seat depth. Whenever we have the slope 1 inch per feet, the seat depth will require the 8-inch value. Please download these catalogs are free to download from the official website of the New Millennium, official website of the Canon Joist, and the official website of the Vulcar uh, for the USA. Thank you for watching this video. Please keep your thoughts in the comment section.